race. It was a roundabout here some 10 minutes into the race 12 months ago that Oxford finally got a grip of that contest, and Oxford are getting at least a greater grip of this one.
First signs of weakness in the Cambridge crew. Rebecca there was not as aggressive as her Oxford counterpart. You could see, well, we heard the Oxford cops call for a big push, and my word, did his crew respond with a massive 20 strokes to take them from half a length down to half a length up. Rebecca needs to get a response out of her crew now, because remember, Cambridge have the inside of this bend for the next minute or a minute and a half, and then the bend's going to be in Oxford's favour.
There you see the figures at the bottom of your screen. Oxford on the whole stroking slightly higher. We saw a 37 appear on screen just now. Cambridge around about 34. At the Chiswick Steps, you see Oxford 10.18, Cambridge a second just more beyond that. It is a quickish race. The record to the Chiswick Steps just short of 10 minutes, but Oxford have got it by the throat now.
What we saw there was the benefit of being a big, tall, powerful crew. Colin Grosjean called for power, and they got themselves out of trouble in a hurry. Cambridge now starting to look a little bit tired. On the other hand, they did not benefit from that clash. The seven-man Ryan Monahan missed 3 or 4 strokes, and that didn't help them when they were ahead.
Into Cordy Reach, who still has it in them. As the coaches would have it, who can snap the handles, who can move their bit of the boat, who can stretch the boat, who can keep it all joined up.
Oxford have just about taken a one-length advantage on air now, trying to close the door. They're deliberately steering in front of Cambridge, so Cambridge get dirty water, and don't let Cambridge get the rhythm. The umpire is warning both crews, particularly Oxford, to move over. Yeah, because Cambridge are going to have to move now. If Oxford get warned and Cambridge come back into them, we could see another incident, another clash, and potential disqualification.
Very few recover from behind at this stage. It requires immense mental strength to keep believing from second place now. It has been done, and done quite recently in the early years of the 21st century. But those guys in the Oxford boat not only have a lead, but they have the advantage of the final bend.
And you can just see in their rhythm now, they've got the confidence of being ahead. They were big favourites coming to this race. Cambridge really rattled them, and Oxford started to misfire. Now they can see the opposition, yeah, the lungs are burning, the legs are on fire, but they've got the confidence of being in front and knowing that final bend is in their favour. The boat is running better. Cambridge will have to respond. We have to see that move within the next 3-4 minutes.
And asked about his crew's ferocious regime through the winter, the coach of these men, the coach of Cambridge, Chris Nielsen, said, "What would you rather be doing? Imagine the sense of privilege. Be proud to sit in the Cambridge boat and row for your university and row as a part of history." But that privilege is looking frayed round the edges now. Everything is stacked in favour of the favourites, Oxford.
Oxford really starting to relax into it. You see Antti Kushurin in the stroke seat there starting to enjoy it, giving his crew a great rhythm to follow. They're only going to extend this lead unless Cambridge really step on the gas.
And of course the great psychological advantage for the leading crew is that, as painful as every stroke is now, they have the enemy in their sight. They can see it hurting for Cambridge. Whereas Cambridge, as we see them from the umpire's boat, all they can see is water and the likelihood of defeat. You can sense the proximity of the leading boat, but you cannot see the deficit. Only the cox knows the full truth and the horror of that truth.
What we can't underestimate is the amount of energy that these athletes have put in to get this far. Okay, Oxford are starting to look relaxed, starting to look like they're making it easy, but yeah, that push in the middle must have really taken out of them to actually make the boat speed improve that much over such a short period of time. That was a real physical push. Cambridge are going to have to dig deeper and deeper than they've ever done before to get back from here. And what's happening is Rebecca is trying to come inside Oxford and actually get the inside of the bend around Barnes Bridge, trying to cut the corner and take a chance.
They have to take a chance. They would have to get lucky now, Cambridge. It is very much Oxford's to lose as they shoot the central span of Barnes Bridge and head towards the final furlong. Only 6 times in history, only once since the war, has the Barnes Bridge leader failed to win. Roger Bannister in our build-up to the race was quoted as saying, "Most people don't know what they're capable of." But it would be stretching credulity now to suggest that Rebecca Dalbig and there in the Cambridge boat are capable of making up this deficit. For Cambridge, so much investment for so little probable return.
Very, very brave effort by Cambridge. They impressed me in the first half of that race. They really took it to Oxford, really made the best of the chances that they had. Rebecca Dalbiggen, particularly in the first half of the race, was dominating. She was able to give her crew an advantage, and her crew were able to respond. But to me, that crucial push in the middle, when Oxford went for it, they had the power, they had the ability just to jump from behind to in front. And now looking at them, they look confident, they look relaxed, and they're looking good.
And for the second year running, Wayne, because it is very similar to what we saw 12 months ago, the second year running, Cambridge have made a race of it to halfway and beyond, but haven't been strong enough to hold on.
They made a fantastic effort of it, just like last year. They threw all their cards on the table. They very nearly got a length clear, which is what they needed to do, but Oxford were too strong when the crucial moment came.
And so, at Oxford, success continues to breed success. They have the knack. Their coach, Sean Bowden, calm and clever and contained, has honed the system, which is now repeatedly proven. And Cambridge have some catching up to do, some 21st century catching up to do.
Yeah, it shows the success of the Oxford system that Sean Bowden has produced. He's producing winners, he's producing crews that when it's in the fight, they know how to fight.
Plotkowiak and Smith, the two big Americans. Tom Salisbury from London, and there is Koshurin, who lost 2 years ago. A winning boat. Oxford have the knack, they have the personnel, far-flung athletes harvested from all corners of the globe and taught the Oxford way, the winning way. Multinational Oxford, 6 countries in one boat, unified by the language of sport and the common desire to succeed. They know, they just know, there is a certainty about their approach. The first decade of the 21st century is shaded ineradicably dark blue. It is Oxford again. Oxford 2009. Pedigree and power have won the day. 5 Olympians have had their way, and so has anyone whose heart beats for OUBC. Cambridge follow them gamely home, having given as much as they possibly could have given. But for the distinguished Oxford president Colin Smith, another prize to set alongside his Olympic silver medal. His boat race wins now eclipse his single defeat. For the men at the extremes of the boat, Plotkowiak and Koshurin, extremes of emotion, beaten 2 years ago, returning now as winners. For the big beast from Wellington, George Bridgewater, there smiling, a splendid accompaniment to his Olympic bronze. The 2 Americans, Hearn and Harrison, have plenty to write home about, as does their countryman Cox, Colin Grosjean, for whom this is a triumph against adversity. A boat race campaign that almost didn't begin has ended in a win. Joy in the engine room for the big Dutchman Sjoerd Hamburger, and Britain's Tom Salisbury, the Crystal Palace fan, is glad all over. For poor Cambridge, the deficit in height and weight and experience and savvy was just too much to make up. Illness and injury have frequently thrown a spanner in their works since Christmas. Reasons, not excuses, none of them ultimately relevant, because in the end they simply lost Cambridge to a better crew. And for 4 of the Cambridge boys, it's all they've ever known. For 4 more, played 2, lost 2. Only Rebecca Dalbiggen has ever experienced the uplift of victory that those Oxford boys are enjoying now. Cambridge 79, Oxford now 75, the gap between them down to 4, as small a gap as it's been for 14 years. Cambridge, as ever, were stylish, but Oxford were substantial. And in the end, chaps, just briefly, it's what we had expected.
It is, it's the favourites, showed us why they were favourites in the end. Impressive, very impressive performance from Cambridge to actually put them under pressure, but Oxford, when it really counted, yeah, they had the armoury, they had the weapons.
It's another great win for Sean Bowden, the Oxford coach, and a cruel initiation for Chris Nielsen, who's just taken over at Cambridge, but he'll learn from this and he'll be back soon.
So it's dark blue ribbons to be attached to the exchanging trophy, and Oxford's arms will shortly embrace that trophy to signify that they, Oxford, are the winners of the 155th University Boat Race.